Manumajra. When it was discovered that the train had brought a full load of corpses, a heavy brooding silence descended on the village. People barricaded their doors and many stayed up all night talking in whispers. Everyone felt his neighbor's hand against him and thought of finding friends and allies. They did not notice the clouds blot out the stars nor smell the cool damp breeze. When they woke up in the morning and saw it was raining, their first thoughts were about the train and the burning corpses. The whole village was on the roofs looking towards the station. The train had disappeared as mysteriously as it had come. The station was deserted. The soldiers' tents were soaked with water and looked depressing. There was no smouldering fire nor smoke. In fact, there was no sign of life or death. Still, people watched. Perhaps there would be another train with more corpses. But afternoon, the clouds had rolled away to the west. Rain had cleared the atmosphere and one could see for miles around. Villagers ventured forth from their homes to find out if anyone knew more than they. Then they went back to their roofs. Although it had stopped raining, no one could be seen on the station platform or in the passenger shed or the military camp. A row of vultures sat on the parapet of the station building, and kites were flying in circles high above it. The head constable, with his posse of policemen and prisoners, was spotted a long way away from the village. People shouted the information to each other. The lumberdar was summoned. When the head constable arrived with his party, there was quite a crowd assembled under the peepal tree near the temple. The head constable unlocked the handcuffs of the prisoners in front of the villagers. They were made to put their thumb impressions on pieces of paper and told to report to the police station twice a week. The villagers looked on sullenly. They knew that Jagga Badmash and the stranger had nothing to do with the dacoity. They were equally certain that in arresting the Mali's gang, the police were on the right track. Perhaps they were not all involved. Some of the five might have been arrested mistakenly. It was scarcely possible that none of them had had anything to do with it. Yet, there were police letting them loose, not in their own village, but in Manumajra, where they had committed the murder. The police must be certain of their innocence to take such a risk. The head constable took the lumberdar aside, and the two spoke to each other for some time. The lumberdar came back and addressed the villagers, saying, "The Sentry Sahab wants to know if anyone here has seen or heard anything about Sultana Badmash and any of his gang." Several villagers came out with news. He was known to have gone to Pakistan along with his gang. They were all Muslims, and Muslims of their village had been evacuated. "Was it before or after the murder of Lala that he left?" inquired the head constable, coming up beside Lumberdar. "After," they answered in a chorus. There was a long pause. The villagers looked at each other somewhat puzzled. Was it them? Before they could ask the policeman any questions, the head constable was speaking again. "Did any of you see or talk to a young Mussalman Babu called Muhammad Iqbal, who was member of Muslim League?" The lumberdar was taken aback. He did not know Iqbal was a Mussalman. He vaguely recalled Meet Singh and Imam Baksh calling him Iqbal Singh. He looked in the crowd for Imam Baksh but could not find him. Several villagers started telling the head constable excitedly of having seen Iqbal go to the fields and loiter around the railway track near the bridge. "Did you notice anything suspicious about him?" "Suspicious? Well, did you notice anything suspicious about the fellow? Did you?" No one was sure. One could never be sure about educated people. They were all suspiciously cunning. Surely Meet Singh was the one to answer questions about the Babu. Some of the Babu's things were still with him at the Gurudwara. Meet Singh was pushed up to the front. The head constable ignored Meet Singh and again addressed the group that had been answering him. "I will speak to the bhai later," he said. "Can any one of you say whether this man came to Manu Majra before or after the dacoity?" This was another shock. What would an urban babu have to do with Dakati or murder? Maybe it was not for money after all. No one was quite sure. Now they were not sure of anything. The head constable dismissed the meeting with, if anyone has any authentic information about the moneylender's murder, or about Sultana, or about Muhammad Iqbal, report at the police station at once. The crowd broke in small groups, talking and gesticulating animatedly. Meet Singh went up to the head constable, who was getting his constables ready to march back. Santri Sahib, the young man you arrested the other day is not a Mussalman. He is a Sikh, Iqbal Singh. The head constable took no notice of him. He was busy writing something on a piece of yellow paper. Meet Singh waited patiently. Santri Sahib, he started again as the other was folding the paper. The head constable did not even look at him. He beckoned one of the constables and handed him the paper, saying, "Get a bicycle or a tonga and take this letter to the commandant of Pakistan military unit. Also tell him yourself that you have come from Manu Majra and situation is serious. He must send his trucks and soldiers to evacuate the Muslims as early as possible at once." "Yes, sir," answered the constable, clicking his heels. "Santri Sahab," implored Meet Singh. "Santri Sahab, Santri Sahab, Santri Sahab," repeated the head constable angrily. "You have been eating my ears with your Santri Sahab. What do you want?" "Iqbal Singh is a Sikh." "Did you open the fly buttons of his pants to see whether he was a Sikh or a Mussalman?" "You are a simple bhai of a temple. Go and pray." The head constable took his place in front of the policemen standing in double file. "Attention! By the left, quick march!" Meet Singh turned back to the temple without answering the eager queries of the villagers. The head constable's visit had divided Manu Majra into two halves, as neatly as a knife cuts through a pat of butter. Muslims sat and moped in their houses. Rumors of atrocities committed by Sikhs on Muslims in Patiala, Ambala, Kapurthala, which they had heard and dismissed, came back to their minds. They had heard of gentlewomen having their wheels taken off, being stripped and marched down crowded streets to be raped in the marketplace. Many had eluded their would be ravishers by killing themselves. They had heard of mosques being desecrated by the slaughter of pigs on the premises and the copies of Holy Quran being torn up by the infidels. Quite suddenly, every Sikh in Manu Majra became a stranger with an evil intent. His long hair and beard appeared barbarous, his kirpan menacingly anti-Muslim. For the first time, the name Pakistan came to mean something to them, a refuge where there were no Sikhs.